Think about someone you know who lets their own birthday go by without saying a word. Not someone who is sad about it, someone who simply doesn't mention it. A coworker whose date pops up on the shared office calendar and they look faintly annoyed that the software told on them. A friend who answers, "What are you doing for your birthday?" with nothing, really, and actually means it. Maybe that person is you, and everyone around you has quietly decided they know why. Bitter about getting older, or fishing, a little, hoping someone will insist. It's neither. Stay with me, because the real reason is stranger and much more specific. People who skip their own birthday are not running from joy. They are running from a very particular kind of attention, arriving on a very particular date. Today we're looking at the psychology of people who don't celebrate their birthday. Why one square on the calendar can feel less like a gift and more like a recurring meeting you never agreed to attend. And why the thing you've been calling antisocial might be the most precise thing about you. Start with the part almost nobody says out loud. The lights go down. Somebody carries the cake in. And then there are about 15 seconds where a room full of people sing directly at you, and your only job is to sit there and be looked at. 15 seconds is nothing, unless it's you. Where do you put your eyes? You can't look at anyone, because then you're staring. You can't look down, because that reads as sad. So, you land on the candles and hold a smile that slowly stops being something happening to you and becomes a shape you're making with your face. Psychologists have a name for feelings like this: self-conscious emotions. Pride, shame, embarrassment, the whole family of feelings that only exist because you can picture how you look from the outside. Michael Lewis, who spent decades researching them, drew a line inside embarrassment that I keep coming back to. There is the embarrassment of being evaluated, where you've been judged and found short. And there is the embarrassment of plain exposure. No judgment involved at all. Just being the object of attention. That second one is the birthday one. And then the song ends and there's the pause. Make a wish. Which means everyone keeps watching while you're asked to have a private moment in front of 11 people. You blow the candles out too fast. Somebody starts cutting the cake, the room turns back into a room, and you feel your shoulders drop a full inch. That drop is the part worth noticing. Something in you had been holding. Nobody in that room is criticizing you. Everyone there likes you. That's the strange part, isn't it? The warmth is completely real, and your body still wants the song to end. But here's where it gets interesting. Watch how you sit at an ordinary group dinner. You're the one who notices the waiter hovering. You're the one who drifts to the end of the photo, not hiding, exactly. You're just comfortable being part of the background of somebody else's night. There's a well-known finding out of Cornell about this, from Thomas Gilovich and Kenneth Savitsky. They call it the spotlight effect. They sent students into a room wearing an embarrassing t-shirt, then asked them to guess how many people had noticed. The guesses came in at roughly double the truth. Most people walk around convinced there's a light on them that simply isn't there. Now here's the part that lands on you. If you've spent years correcting for that light, quietly telling yourself nobody is watching, nobody is keeping score, go ahead, nobody cares, you get very good at it. It becomes your default setting. The room is not about me. That assumption is how you relax. And then one day a year, the light is actually on. The assumption your comfort is built on suddenly stops being true. Not paranoid wrong. Wrong in the opposite direction. People genuinely are looking, and you have no practice at all at being looked at on purpose. So the discomfort isn't weakness, it's calibration. You are a person tuned for rooms that aren't about you, standing in a room that is. And it isn't only the room. There's a second thing happening, and it starts before anyone even arrives. It's the night before. You're brushing your teeth, and you catch yourself doing math. Not about the party, about the year. Where you thought you'd be by now. What you told yourself last time. The list you made that's still just a list. Researchers who study motivation have a name for dates like this: temporal landmarks. Hengchen Dai and Catherine Milkman found that certain markers on the calendar carry unusual weight. The first of a year, the start of a month, a birthday. Dates like that make people step back from the daily noise and take the wide shot of their own life. For most people, that's fuel. It's why gyms fill up in January. but a wide shot cuts both ways. If you already run an internal audit most weeks, the birthday doesn't hand you a fresh start. It hands you a deadline you never agreed to. One specific square on the calendar where the entire year gets summarized whether you're ready or not. And now the party makes sense. It isn't the cake. It's cake landing on the same day as the audit. You're being asked to perform delight in the exact 24 hours your own head has scheduled for a reckoning. That's a lot to ask of anybody, but here's the part that explains where all of this actually started. You're maybe 8 years old. The camera comes out. You already know what's in the box because you saw the corner of it in the hall closet a week ago. And you understand your job with total clarity. Look surprised. Sound thrilled. Do it now, do it on camera, and do it convincingly because someone who loves you is standing right there waiting to find out whether they got it right. So you performed. And you got good at it. Anthropologists have written about this for a century, going back to Marcel Mauss. A gift is never actually free. Every gift opens a small account, and the person receiving it owes something back. Usually gratitude. In public, on time, visible enough to count. Most kids never notice the invoice. You did. Because if you grew up reading faces, if the mood of a room was information you needed rather than scenery, then you weren't only receiving a present. You were monitoring whether the giver felt appreciated enough. You were working. And that's what nobody sees when you say you'd rather skip it. It was never that you dislike gifts. It's that receiving has never been the restful part for you. It's the shift you clock into. 20 years later, the cake comes out, and some part of you quietly goes back on duty. You can see it in the phone too. The messages arrive in a stack from 8 in the morning. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Hope you have a great one. Warm, all of them, every single one meant kindly. And you look at the stack and feel something that is not quite joy, because each one is now a small thing you owe a personal answer to. Not a thank you copied and pasted. A real one, with their name in it, that sounds like you. By lunchtime, you're behind on gratitude. Who else has that problem? Here's what I find most telling, though. Ask people who skipped their birthday what they did instead, and almost none of them did nothing. They took the day off and told no one at work. They bought the coffee that costs too much. They drove somewhere with nobody in the passenger seat. They rewatched the film they've seen 40 times. They texted one person, the right person, and sat in a restaurant for 3 hours while nobody sang. Does that sound like someone avoiding their own life? That's not avoidance. That's editing. You didn't cancel the day. You made it private. You took an event with a fixed guest list, a fixed emotion, and a fixed start time, and you rebuilt it at a size your nervous system can actually hold. And notice something about that list. Every item on it has one thing in common. You chose the moment. Nobody handed it to you at 7 in the evening and asked you to be visibly happy on cue. And the size is the whole point. Attention was never the enemy. Attention you didn't ask for, from a group, on a schedule, with a required expression on your face, that's the enemy. One person across a table saying, "I'm glad you were born," quietly, on a Tuesday, you can take that. You might carry it around for a week. So let me say the plain thing. There is nothing wrong with you. You're not bitter. You're not sad about getting older. You're not secretly hoping somebody will make a fuss so you can enjoy being talked into it. You are a person with a different relationship to two things most people never examine: being looked at and being measured. Your birthday happens to be the one day a year that does both at once, at full volume, on a date somebody else picked for you before you could speak. That isn't a defect. That's a system doing precisely what it was built to do. And I want to be careful here, because this cuts both ways. Skipping the party is not the same as skipping the love. If you notice you've started declining all of it, the small dinner, the single text, the person who just wants to hand you something, that's worth looking at honestly. Choosing quiet and hiding can wear the same coat. But if what you want is simply smaller and quieter and on your own terms, then you don't owe anyone a louder version of your own day. It's a recurring meeting you never scheduled. Nobody ever told you this, but you were always allowed to move it. Change the room. Cut the invite list down to the people who already know how you take your coffee. Keep the date if you want it. Just hold the pen. If any of this landed, do me a favor. Leave a comment with what you actually do on your birthday. The real answer, not the polite one. The day off nobody knew about. The drive. The one text. I read them, and they're usually better than the parties. And if this one felt like it was written about you, the video on people who don't post their photos online belongs right next to it. Same instinct, different corner of your life. One day a year, a room full of people will look at you and want something good for you. You're allowed to take that in small sips. Subscribe to keep decoding yourself, and I'll see you in the next.